Let's look at variation together. So simply put, variation is the change in a quantity due to the change in another quantity. In practical terms, let's say we have, say, spaghetti, and then someone eats this volume of spaghetti and was this fat, and then someone ate this quantity of spaghetti and all of a sudden it became this fat. It then means that the change in the quantity of spaghetti consumed affects the weight of an individual. This is like a crude explanation of what variation means. But for the purpose of the syllabus, we are going to be looking at 3 types of variation. The first type of variation we are going to be looking at is direct variation. Secondly, we have inverse variation. And then we have joint variation. In this video, I'm going to be considering direct variation, and subsequently we'll be looking at inverse and joint variation. So direct variation. Going back to the explanation of the spaghetti, let's say that an increase in spaghetti, for example, leads to an increase in weight, and a decrease in the volume of spaghetti consumed leads to a decrease in weight. This is an explanation of what direct variation means. An increase leads to an increase, a reduction leads to a reduction in the other quantity. Now let's go into mathematics. If we have P varies directly as Q, P varies directly as Q. To turn that statement into a mathematical expression, we'll be having P varies directly as Q. This symbol in the middle is what we call the proportional symbol. So P varies directly as Q. The next thing you want to do is to introduce the constants. Most time in mathematics, we usually use K or C to represent the constants. I love K, so I'm going to use K in this instance. So introducing a constant and turning this into an equation, we are going to be having P equals to KQ. This here gives us the relationship between P and Q. To understand this better, we need to solve an example. But before we solve an example, I would like to give you 5 steps that you can go through to be able to solve any question under variation. So let's have 5 steps. Step 1, turn the statement into a math expression. Step 2, introduce the constants. And get the equation. Step 3, substitute values given and solve for K. And solve for K. Step 4, substitute K into the equation. And step 5, find the unknown. Find the unknown. So following these 5 steps, you should be able to solve any question under variation. So we have this example. If P varies directly as Q and P is 6 when Q is 3, find P when Q is 5. Step 1, turn the statement into a math expression. So we have if P varies directly as Q. So let's turn this into a math expression. P varies directly as Q. Then we introduce K, so we have P equals to KQ. We are going to call this our equation 1. The next thing we have to do is to substitute values given and solve for K. So the question says P is 6 and Q is 3. So P equals to 6, Q equals to 3. Substitute it into equation 1. Anywhere I see P, I call it 6. So I have 6 equals to K. Q, I call it 3 times 3. So I divide both sides by 3. 3 here 1, 3 here goes 2. 3 cancel 3. So 2 equals to K, and then K equals to 2. The next step is substitute K into the equation. So I put K equals to 2 into equation 1. Equation 1 is P equals to KQ. So anywhere I see K, I call it 2. So P equals to 2Q. This is the relationship between P and Q. Then last step, find the unknown. So the question says, find P when Q is 5. So Q equals to 5. I substitute it into this equation. So P equals to 2 times 5. It then means that P equals to 10. This is my answer. So following the steps above, you can easily solve any variation question or any question under variation. I'm going to give you an exercise to be sure that you've gotten the concept. So all you need to do is, when I give the question, you could just pause the video, see how to solve it yourself, and then play the video to look at the solution. So let me give you the exercise. If s varies directly as square root of t, so the first thing we do is turn the statement into a math expression. So x varies directly as square root of t. Next step, introduce k and get the equation. So s equals to k square root of t. Substitute the values given and solve for k. And s equals to 2, t equals to 4 over 9. So let's call this equation 1. So s equals to 2, t equals to 4 over 9. So we substitute this value in the equation above. So 2 equals to k square root of 4 over 9. So we know that 2 equals to k. Square root of 4 is 2. Square root of 9 is 3. So we have 2 over 3. So 2 equals to k times 2 over 3. So 2 equals to 2k over 3. We cross multiply. 2 times 3 is 6. 2k times 1 is 2k. So 2k equals to 6. Divide both sides by 2. K equals to 3. So the next step is substitute k into the equation. So put k equals to 3 into equation 1. So equation 1 is s equals to k root t. So s equals to 3 root t. Then the last step, find the unknown. Find s when t is 16. So t equals to 16. Substitute into this equation. S equals to 3 square root 16. Square root 16 is 4, so s equals to 3 times 4. S equals to 12. I do hope that you got the answer correctly. If you did not get the answer, just go through the solution that I just gave and be sure that you correct whatsoever mistake you made. In the next video, we are going to be looking at inverse variation. I do hope you understand these things and you are able to solve as many questions as possible.